Now here's something cool. UFC debut patches are officially a thing. Starting at UFC Vegas 107, fighters making their UFC debut will wear a special patch on their gear. After the fight, that patch will go into a one-of-one signed trading card as the ultimate collector's item. This means the UFC joins MLB and WWE as the latest sport to roll out debut patch collectibles, and fans are already hyped. Well, what do you think of these new changes in the UFC? Next up, big news from Sugar Sean O'Malley. He's looking locked in and laser-focused ahead of his rematch with Merab at UFC 316. In a new interview with Jim Rome, Sean gave fans some insight into what's been going down in camp. Sean says he's been deep in a 12 to 13-week camp grinding non-stop, focusing on nothing but Merab and how to beat him. And when asked how he plans to stop the man known as the Machine, here's what he had to say.
Through these training camps, every training camp you go through, you get a little bit better, and this training camp has been a long training camp. It's been just a lot of grappling. It's a lot of grappling. That's all we've been doing. And it's, when you're doing that 5-6 days a week, you're going to improve. And we've been in camp for a long time now. I think we did about 12-13 weeks of focusing on Merab, focusing on getting better in that area. It's been a long camp, and I've definitely improved.
So they don't call Merab the Machine for nothing, right? This dude's riding a 12-fight win streak. Specifically, what do you think you have to do to end that streak and get that strap back next week?
I got to win the first 3 rounds, and I got to win the last 2 rounds. I got to break the Machine. I got to beat him. I gotta win the positions, and I know I can beat Merab. He's open to be getting knocked out. I'm very confident that I could put his lights out. I'm also confident I could beat him in a.
But let us know who you got winning, Merab or Sean O'Malley. Drop your picks down in the comments. And if you think O'Malley is stopping at bantamweight, think again. According to his coach Tim Welch, a move to featherweight could be on the table sooner than we thought. During an appearance on the MMA Hour with ARIEL HELWANI, Welch explained.
Some have suggested, Chael being one of them, others as well, that hey, if it doesn't work out, 145 is always an option. Has that been discussed at all?
I mean, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. There's still really big fights at bantamweight, and Sean's 5'11". He walks around at around 160 pounds. So if we took 6-7 months to put 3, 4, 5 pounds of muscle on him, he definitely could hang with a lot of the 145ers.
Would you like to see him at some point, win or lose, like at some point down the line? Would you like to see him at 45?
Yeah, I mean down the line, I think there's a bunch of really big fights for him at 145 and these weight cuts.
Could Sugar Sean be hunting gold in 2 divisions soon? Don't count it out, but time will tell. This is absolutely wild. You've heard fighters joke about who they could beat in a fantasy fight, right? But Mike Perry just took it to a whole new level. BKFC's Platinum Mike didn't just say he'd fight a gorilla, and he gave us a full-on breakdown of how he'd win.
Here we go. Mike Perry versus a gorilla. What happens?
I win. I'm smarter than a fucking gorilla, believe it or not. I get smarter with every hit. I'm gonna kill that fucking gorilla. I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna weave a basket together, cover its eyes, and stab it in the fucking neck with a twig. Fuck you. How about that?
Yes, he actually said that. And honestly, we wouldn't expect anything less from Mike Perry. The guy's a brawler, a wild man, and now apparently a gorilla hunter in his imagination. But let us know if he really stands a chance against a gorilla. But before we continue, kindly hit that subscribe button to support the channel, and I promise daily updates. Thank you. Over in the featherweight division, rumors are heating up about Yair Rodriguez possibly getting another title shot against Alexander Volkanovski. And one guy who's not on board with that idea is Robert Whittaker. On his MMA Arcade podcast, the former middleweight champ didn't hold back.
Mate, no one wants to see this fight. No one.
Yes.
no one was sitting at home thinking, I didn't know. You know what fight I want to run back? Volk and Yair. Okay? Not yet anyway, because Volk did some good, honest work in that first fight, okay? And I thought Yair had a lot to work on from that fight. I think a lot of it was mental. That's how I walked away from that fight. I thought that fight was very one-sided. Now, there was a storyline that whole fight week with him and Diego.
Yes.
Okay? I wanted that fight to happen. Tell me that fight couldn't have headlined UFC Mexico.
Honestly, he's got a point. But let us know if you would love to see Volk versus Yair too. Meanwhile, Dan Hooker made headlines this past weekend, not for a UFC bout, but for a $50,000 backyard boxing tournament in New Zealand. Hooker hosted 32 fighters, 1-minute brawls, winner takes all, and the whole thing blew up online. But not everyone was impressed. The BCA president, Billy Meehan, slammed the event, calling it straight-out thuggery, and even urged police to find the venue. But Hooker wasn't having it. On the MMA Hour with ARIEL, Dan Hooker weighed in.
And I'm sure, you know, you weren't surprised there were some people locally who weren't happy about this. Anything to the point that it would deter you from doing it again?
Deter me? Now I feel like
challenge.
Now you challenged me. Now I was gonna leave it. Now you're telling me, ARIEL, there's people trying to stop me? Now I have to do it.
Okay.
Now I'm honor bound and forced to pursue it. There's obviously a few lefties out there just having a sulk, but there's always going to be lefties out there having a cry. But once everyone watches the full 45 minutes and just sees the respect by all the fighters that's shown to each other, you see that it's just a couple of guys put some gloves. Like, since when did putting gloves on in the backyard and having a punch up with your mates become illegal? Since when was that a crime? And it's being run by some of the most experienced combat sports people in the country. Thousands of fights, medically trained. You know, when did that become illegal? If that's illegal, then they've got I feel like things that they've got better things.
Hooker says the fights were run by some of the most experienced combat sports people in the country and that there were medical teams on standby. So are you guys ready for round 2? Let us know down in the comments. And finally, Nate Diaz still got his thing, even halfway across the world. After a wild brawl forced him to leave the Russian version of The Ultimate Fighter, new footage has surfaced showing Nate in Thailand doing what he does best, trolling the camera crew. In the clip, you can hear him joke around with the production guys.
Can I get some backup over here?
I don't think they...
What's up, bro? Game on.
There's a shooting right there.
Anymore?
I think this guy's still, I think he's gonna break. He's sweating.
Get up on him, bro. Get up on him. Come on.
Classic gangster character. Just Nate being Nate. And that's it for today's MMA updates. For daily fight news and content, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.